You ever just find yourself scrolling through an app and you can't even remember why you opened it in the first place? Or maybe you've wondered what makes some products so sticky you just can't put them down? Well, let's get into it, because I can tell you right now it is not an accident. It is absolutely by design.
I mean, think about it. That social media feed you check the second you're bored, or the news app you pop open every single morning, that game you play while you're waiting in line. These aren't just products anymore. They've become habits. They are automatic behaviors we do without even thinking. So the question is, how on earth do companies engineer these routines?
Well, it turns out that products become habits when they land in what's called the habit zone. And for that to happen, two things have to line up just right: a high frequency of use and a high perceived value. If a product solves a real problem for you and it does it often enough, think about searching on Google, it just crosses this invisible line and becomes second nature. You don't even think about using anything else.
So how do designers get their products into that coveted habit zone? The answer lies in this really powerful framework that was developed by author Nir Eyal. It's called the Hook Model.
The hook model is basically a four-step loop that companies use to build these habits in us. It all starts with a trigger, which then leads you to an action. After the action, you get a variable reward, and finally, you make an investment. This whole cycle is designed to connect your problem with their solution over and over and over until it's just automatic. Let's walk through each one of these steps.
And you know what? To make this super clear, let's use a real-world example: TripAdvisor. I mean, with hundreds of millions of users, it's a perfect case study for how to keep people coming back for more. Let's take a look at exactly how they pull it off.
All right, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of the model. We're going to break down each of the four phases: the trigger, the action, the variable reward, and the investment.
So first up is the trigger. You can think of it like the spark plug in an engine. It's the cue that gets the behavior started and tells us what to do next. And as you'll see, triggers aren't all the same.
They come in two flavors. First, you've got external triggers. These are the obvious ones in our environment. That notification buzzing on your phone, an email that pops up, an ad you see. They literally tell you what to do. But the real magic, the end game for any habit-forming product, is to link up with an internal trigger. Now, these are the heavy hitters. We're talking about emotions, feelings. You know, when you feel bored, you open YouTube. Feeling a little lonely, you check Instagram. See? These products have literally attached themselves to an itch deep inside of us.
So for TripAdvisor, an external trigger could be an email about a great deal on flights. Simple enough. But the internal trigger, that's that feeling of uncertainty or maybe excitement when you start planning a trip. It's that itch of wanderlust. And once that internal connection is made, you don't even need the email anymore. You just automatically think, TripAdvisor.
Okay, so once that trigger fires, you, the user, need to take an action. This is step two. And here's the most important part. The action has to be incredibly, ridiculously simple. Just remember, habits are things we do with little to no conscious thought. So if taking an action requires too much effort, either physically or mentally, the whole loop breaks. The best habit-forming products make their core action easier to do than to think about not doing. And TripAdvisor absolutely nails this. Searching for a hotel? Effortless. And even contributing, like posting a photo or writing a review, is designed to be done in just a few quick taps, usually in under 5 minutes. They have removed every possible bit of friction. So after you act, you get a reward. But here is the absolute secret sauce of the whole model. It has to be a variable reward. See, predictable rewards, they just don't create craving. Think about it. The light in your fridge turns on every single time you open the door. It's useful for sure, but you don't feel this burning desire to just keep checking it, right? But the second you add a little unpredictability into the mix, oh man, our brains just go wild. These variable rewards usually fall into one of three buckets. You've got rewards of the tribe, which are all about social connection and acceptance, getting likes on a post. Then there are rewards of the hunt, which is about finding stuff, like resources or information when you're scrolling a newsfeed. And finally, rewards of the self, which is that deep, intrinsic satisfaction you get from mastering a skill or leveling up in a game. And this isn't just some abstract psychology, it's straight-up neuroscience. When our brain is anticipating a reward, our dopamine levels go through the roof. And variability, that just supercharges the effect, creating the state of focused craving. It's the exact same mechanism that makes slot machines so darn addictive. It's the anticipation that hooks us, not just getting the reward itself.
So, back to our case study. TripAdvisor's Trip Collective program is a masterclass in variable rewards. When you write a review or you post a photo, you earn points. You work your way up to new levels and badges. like becoming a restaurant expert. This dishes out powerful rewards of the tribe by giving you status in the community and rewards of the self from that awesome feeling of mastery.
And that brings us to the final step in the loop, investment. This is where you, the user, do a little bit of work. You put something valuable back into the product. It could be your time, your data, your effort, even your social reputation. Now, this investment step does two really critical things. First, it makes the product better the more you use it. It becomes more personalized, more valuable to you. This is called storing value. And second, it loads the next trigger, which is what brings you right back into the hook cycle all over again. So for TripAdvisor, every single review you write is an investment. It builds up your reputation and your status inside the community. That's the stored value right there. And by giving them this data, you're making the platform's future recommendations for you even better. You've put in the work, so you're way more likely to come back and enjoy the benefits of that investment on your next trip.
So, we've seen just how powerful this model is. But with great power, well, you know the rest. That power comes with a whole lot of responsibility. And building habit-forming products definitely raises some big ethical questions.
To help creators grapple with the morality of what they're building, Nir Eyal came up with something called the manipulation matrix. It asks two very simple but very telling questions. First, does the product materially improve the user's life? And second, does the creator personally use it? And depending on how you answer, you fall into one of four categories. Are you a facilitator, helping people do things they already wanted to do? Maybe you're an entertainer, just offering a fun diversion. Or are you a peddler, or even a dealer, pushing products that don't really improve lives, products you might not even use yourself? It's a really important question for both the people who build these things and for all of us who use them.
Look, the big takeaway here is that these hooks are literally everywhere. They're shaping our daily behaviors in ways we often don't even see. But just understanding the mechanism, that's the first and most important step to regaining control. So let's just do a super quick recap of the 4 steps. You have a trigger, both external and internal, that kicks off a very simple action. That action results in a variable reward, which creates a craving for more. And finally, a small investment from you stores value and loads the next trigger, starting the whole cycle all over again.
And that leaves us with one last question for you. Now that you know the secret, now that you understand the mechanics behind all this habit-forming tech, take a hard look at your own daily routines. Which products have successfully hooked you and why? I bet the answer might just surprise you.